Hi, Mike.
Hey, Geoff. Nice to talk to you again, sir.
How are you?
Good. I'm doing great, man. Thank you for taking the time this morning.
My pleasure.
So, your latest show or tour is the Big Rock Show Hits Tour. Pretty self-explanatory there. I'm
That's right.
assuming that the Queensryche will be plentiful, but does this also include like any solo music or Avantasia or Sweet Oblivion, stuff like that?
It has all kinds of surprises, twists, and turns.
Oh, excellent. Excellent.
I have to say, it's kind of a career retrospective, I guess. Looking back at all the different songs and all the different albums, and a few deep cuts thrown in there to satisfy the hardcore people and myself, because I like doing that.
Well, that sounds awesome. I mean, last time you were here in Worcester, we saw you over at Rascals. I think the last time you were here, you were racing to finish the show before a blizzard. I think that was the situation here last time. So it'll be nice to see. It'll be nice to see at the Wilbur. I love the Wilbur Theater in Boston. It's going to be on September 17th. It's one of those beautiful, old, ornate theaters. I'm sure you've played there before.
Yeah.
And I think it's like 1,300 or 1,500 capacity. I love seeing it because it adds an extra vibe to me personally to the show. And I'm sure you'd love to fill a stadium and a sweaty rock club is always fun. But to me, the old theaters, I really enjoy seeing a show there. Do you feel a certain way about those kind of old theaters?
I do. And that's where I started out, playing those places years and years ago, and it stuck with me. I love the theater. I love the smell of it, the old wooden floorboards, the ropes that pull up the curtains with. It's all very special to me. And then from an audience standpoint, what a great place to sit or stand and enjoy the show. I mean, say what you will about sweaty rock clubs, they're kind of okay, but your feet stick to the floor and you got to wade through, who knows what bodily fluids to see your favorite artist play. I prefer theater.
Yeah, and are there any other theaters that you've played at that you really, really enjoy?
Oh, hundreds of theaters. Some of them aren't there anymore.
Yeah.
There used to be this place in Glasgow called the Apollo, and it was amazing old theater, but it had a stage that was about 22 feet high off the ground. And it was the scariest thing standing on the downstage edge because, it was a long way down, if you slipped and fell. In fact, what they used to do is take cans of Coca-Cola and sprinkle it along the front of the downstage edge and let it, set up. And basically it's sticky, so your feet would stick to the edge, and so you wouldn't fall over,
Right, and giving you that sweaty rock club feel at the same time. Yeah. Well, to kind of go along with that question, I only recently learned this, and please help me with the pronunciation. The La Sainte Sulpice bar in Montreal, am I saying that correctly?
Yeah, you're close enough.
Okay.
Sulpice, yeah.
Recently closed down months ago, earlier this year, and you had spent a lot of time there writing songs.
I did.
Yeah, well, not just enjoying imbibing, but you were also being constructive and writing some songs for Operation Mindcrime from Queensryche at that time. Was it something about that bar that kept you coming back, or was there some kind of inspiration in that bar that helped you with the songs?
Well, it was a local place. All local people came there. And I found myself there by, of course, befriending some locals. And then I never left. That was my home away from home almost for at least half a year. And it was really the clientele that was there. I found inspiration in some of the people that were regulars there. And some of them became, character references in my story for the Operation Mindcrime album. The Dr. X character was definitely a regular at the Saint Sulpice.
Really? Was he a scary guy? Did you actually talk to him?
He was so scary. He only spoke French, and he would speak very little. But when he did, everybody listened, and everybody kind of came in close to him like he was giving a directive. And then they'd all disperse, and some of them would leave the building. And I just sort of imagined he was, giving people orders on what to do. Either go hit somebody or get them a pizza. I don't know.
Well, I hope it was the pizza. Jeez, that's
Yeah.
that's cool that Dr. X was based on someone you had actually met. I think that's cool. Not necessarily the same personality or what Dr. X was up to in Mindcrime, but I think it's cool that there's a person that was out there that created that character.
Well, actually, all of the characters were inspired by people I either knew or met at the time.
Did any of those people ever contact you at all? Did they have a way and recognize themselves or anything like that?
Nobody ever has. No, not yet.
Not yet, right?
Not yet. But I'm sure at some point, somebody's going to come up to me and say, hey, you wrote a story about me.
Yeah, where's my cut, right? It's always about
that.
Yeah. Well, I also read that you are writing your autobiography. Are you close to finishing that?
Well, I thought I was, and I sent it back to my publisher, and he sent it back to me with cryptic notes, So I'm on the second round of writing for it right now, which I've actually come to terms that it's very difficult, to do this. It's one thing to write a song. Maybe just because I've had a lot of experience doing that, I find it easier to do,
Mm-hmm.
But when you write a book, or especially about your life story, you're, I think, expected to be a lot more detailed in your presentation. And I was sort of taking some broad strokes, I have a lot of stories.
Right. But you got
all the years.
you got to get the facts straight, though, or somebody's going to get angry, I guess.
Oh yeah. I spent a lot of time doing that. Luckily, I've been a journaler all my life, so
okay.
I keep notes about just about everything,
Yeah, I have never journaled, and if someone pressed me to write an autobiography, there'd be a huge chunk of the '90s that is just completely missing. I don't know what happened to that part of the brain, but
I'm with you. I was there too.
Yeah. We may have been in the same room. I don't know. Because I did see you guys in Richmond, Virginia in the early '90s. So yeah, we could have been in the same room. Well, I appreciate you taking the time. And now, when you're done with the Big Rock Show Hits Tour, which will be at the Wilbur on September 17th in Boston, it's off next year. You're going to be taking off with Adrian Vandenburg. I saw. Have you ever worked with him before in your travels?
No, I never have. No, I'm looking forward to it. He's an amazing musician.
Yeah, I mean, from Whitesnake and of course his own band Vandenburg, but that should be a fun show. Any word of any kind of collaboration at all? Maybe joining him or him joining you on stage at some point, or is this too early in the process?
Well, we haven't actually talked about that, but since you brought it up, it actually sounds like a good idea.
Oh,
it could be cool.
I'd love to hear you singing with his guitar playing. That would be amazing.
Yeah, I wonder if we actually have some musical influences we share. I don't really know yet, but we'll explore that definitely.
Yeah, well,
I'd love
awesome.
to do some like Neil Young cover or something.
That'd be. Are you a Neil Young fan?
I'm a huge Neil Young fan. Yeah,
Geoff.
And since the Harvest album came out in '72 or '3.
I do a Neil Young podcast with a couple of friends called Long May You Young. If you ever have a moment to listen to three guys who have been drinking heavily and arguing about Neil Young, it's out there. I'm a huge fan also. What's one of your favorite songs? I know he has many.
What's to argue about?
Neil Young? What he supposedly meant, statements he's made in the past. Oh, believe me, we find a lot of things to argue about.
He's very outspoken.
Yes.
I find him interesting, especially at the age he's at now, because oftentimes artists in our life are finished with their life's work, before they get to the age that Neil is at. But he has some interesting things to say, and a very unique perspective from a guy that's been, a musician all his life and for so long, and still is writing.
Right.
I love listening to what people that age have to say.
Yeah, with all the combined wisdom. And the best thing that I love about Neil Young is nobody ever had to tell Neil Young to keep it real, right?
Yeah.
Ever.
I think he kind of set the standard for keeping it real.
Yes, absolutely. All right, Geoff Tate, thank you so much for taking the time this morning. We're looking forward to seeing you September 17th, the Wilbur Theater in Boston, the Big Rock Show Hits Tour. Good luck, sir, and also looking forward to seeing you with Vandenburg also. But thanks for taking the time.
Thank you, Mike.